and welcome to part 2 of my B&M 2019 mega review, and today we are going to be looking at the Big Finish packs. But just before we get on to the review, I would just like to make a short statement, both for my benefit and for yours, regarding some commonly raised points which I know will come up in the comments section, and addressing them now means that I won't then have to constantly answer them again and again in the comments section. Firstly, this is not a paid advertisement. I have been given these by Character Options and their PR company for the purposes of an advanced review. Obviously, I have been a bit scathing in the past of my reviews of CO's merchandise, and as I have been given these, I'm perhaps not going to critique them as harshly as I would if I'd had to pay for them. But that doesn't mean I'm here to sell you these products, and I have been asked to review these as fairly as I would with any other products. And whilst my initial impressions of these are very good, there are one or two issues which I will be raising in the course of doing these reviews. Secondly, and obviously people are going to be asking me where and how I managed to get these. As I said, they have been given to me by Character Options and their PR company for the purposes of advanced review. As such, these are not for sale, nor are they for giveaway. It is also worth noting that I have been very lucky in getting this opportunity, so I would just like to say, those of you considering contacting Character Options or their PR company just to get free or advanced stuff, please remember that it is entirely down to them to decide who they give their products to, and they have given these to me on the basis that I am actually reviewing them. Thirdly, whilst I have been given these products to review, I would just like to state that I am not formally nor professionally connected with Character Options or their PR company or any associated companies. I do not possess any inside information or knowledge of future products, and anything said in these videos are purely my own thoughts and ideas and should not be taken as any indications of the company's future business. Lastly, on a personal note, I would just like to say, please don't comment or send me messages asking me how you can get advanced products, or if I can get advanced products to send to you, or if you can have anything seen in these videos, because the answer is I'm sorry, but no. And that applies to everyone, so please don't think that you are an exception to that and ask anyway. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but this is a great opportunity that has been given to me by Character Options and their PR company, and I'm really not willing to do anything to jeopardize that in future. But now we've got all that out of the way, let's get on to the actual review. So, we're going to start off with the War Doctor and the Dalek scientist from The Thing of Guile. So obviously this is the first in the Big Finish B&M sets. These are the ones that are going to be seen in B&M. There are going to be some which are going to be up on, I believe, Big Finish's website that are going to be limited to somewhere between 100 and 150 only. So I don't know exactly what different variations there are going to be in the figures, but there are going to be some other variants. These are the B&M ones that are going to be commercially available in B&M in their thousands. Which is why I know some people have questioned why these sets have got a limited edition sticker on them, but the limited edition sticker was at the request of B&M. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are very, very limited. Obviously, they are limited, but they're limited to the thousands. But this is the first Big Finish set we're going to look at. It looks very nice. I love the box artwork, the fact that we've got the War Doctor's, face here, and obviously we've got the 7th Doctor and the other ones there. It tells us that from the story The Thing of Guile, we've got information on the side showing us the figures, and then this side we've got the artwork from Thing of Guile. Looks very good. Obviously there's a question here about the Dalek, which I know people are going to raise, but we'll wait till we get in the box to say that. And then here on the back of the box, on the back of the box we have here information available to buy from Big Finish, and it's also nice that we've got, I'll say on the front as well, we've got down here Big Finish logo, and we've also got bigfinish.com at the top, which looks very nice. Here on the back, obviously we've got Thing of Guile, and then we've got information about the Thing of Guile here on the back, about the story itself. It tells us what it includes, and obviously it's nice to see it. It's nice to see it here. There is one thing on here which I'm going to put this idea out there. I can understand why they didn't do it, but it just makes me think of what Big Finish could have done with these sets, because I don't see it on the box and everything like that. But it would have been nice if these sets came inside with like a code or a barcode scan that actually gave you this story for free if you buy this set. Because I think that would have enhanced people's interest in these sets a lot more if it meant that they could get into some Big Finish. Obviously it would only give you the Thing of Guile, it wouldn't give you the whole War Doctor set, but I certainly think it could have been, it would have presented some very interesting ideas for them to be able to have given fans, you know, the chance to see all of this and see what's going on. But obviously inside we have a War Doctor and we have a Dalek, so let's get into this and see what we've got. So here we have our scientist Dalek and the War Doctor, and we've also got the insert because I have had a quick look at the other ones. They all appear to be the same, but they have this very lovely sort of Time War Big Finish Dalek insert, which is very nice considering that we've got these are Dalek sets, so that's a very nice backdrop. I think it looks superb. It is the same in all of them, and I just wanted to show you that one now for this one. But of course here we have the figures themselves. Now obviously, as I said, one of the things that people are going to raise is the fact that if we look at the side of the box, we have the scientist Dalek here appears to be blue. Now, I was lucky enough, or I questioned this on Twitter, and I got a reply from, I believe, Kenny Smith. I apologise if I get your name wrong, but he actually helped work on these sets, and he works for Big Finish doing Vortex magazine, and he actually did confirm that the Scientist Dalek, despite what is seen on the cover, the Scientist Dalek is in fact silver. It is silver and bronze, so contrary to how it looks on the cover, this is actually accurate to the story. And I'm just going to bring up a brief picture I did, a test I did. I put up the Scientist Dalek into Photoshop and made it blue, and it actually doesn't look right somehow, weirdly. Although I did, as a further test, add a silver base to it, and I think that actually looks quite good. So I may have to make that as a custom in future. But I can understand why we haven't got the Scientist Dalek in blue, and I actually have to say I quite like it. I quite like this sort of slightly silver look. It makes it look sort of certainly something a bit different to anything we've seen before, and it does look very nice. Obviously then we move on to the Eighth Doctor, the War Doctor figure. Now first impressions are that this just looks like a standard War Doctor figure with a couple of exceptions. Firstly, the chaps, or whatever you want to call them, on the boots are a much more sort of lighter, different coloured brown with some more detailing. That's very nice. The hair has a slightly different sort of, the beard is much whiter, the hair is more greyer, and he doesn't have his scarf, which I think I'm actually Al Dewar said in the reveal video that they did that to make him look a bit more sort of fresher and things like that, but I don't know. It just if I had to pick an issue with this set, and it's a small one, I would have to say I think it's a bit of a mistake not including the scarf, because you know, ultimately the fans could have taken it off if they wanted to give him that fresher look. And if it was me, I would have perhaps given him a scarf just in a different colour, say a sort of cream colour, because we've seen he's got a sort of, for those of you who've seen the comic, The Clockwise War, the younger War Doctor has a cream coloured scarf, and so I think that would have been an interesting thing to add in there, because my initial impressions on this when I look at it is the Dalek's very nice, and I look at the War Doctor figure and I think, oh, they've forgotten to put something in here. It's not that I see this as a variant, it looks like a factory mistake. And I think that's a little bit of a shame. That does sort of let this set, well, it doesn't let the set down, but I think this is going to be, of all of the Big Finish sets, I think this is probably going to be the one that's not going to be the biggest seller of the three, because I think the fans are going to look at the cover and they're going to think the Dalek's wrong, even though it's not. They're going to think the Dalek's wrong, and then they're going to look at the figure and think it doesn't look right without the scarf. So by no means do I say no, don't buy the set. I really do think it's a set well worth buying, but I get the feeling that this is going to be a set that people are going to buy. This is going to be a customizer set, I would say, and as a customizer I think that's not a bad thing, but I think this is going to be a set that people are going to use mainly for customs, mainly to get the Dalek and then to use the War Doctor for parts. But as I said, that's by no means a bad thing. But I think of all the three sets, I think this is the one that's going to that's not going to be the biggest seller, shall we say. So here we have the 7th Doctor set. This is from Gallifrey 6, 7th Doctor, and Axis Strike Squad Dalek. That's a bit of a mouthful. But again, very nicely presented box. We've got 7th Doctor's face here. We've got information or pictures on the side. On the back we have information about Gallifrey 6, information here about Gallifrey 6, and on the side we've got some lovely artwork including a picture of this Dalek. Now I know the one thing that people are going to raise about this as well is the fact that we've got a TV movie 7th Doctor in a Gallifrey 6, which I don't believe, I haven't listened to it, but I don't believe from the research I've done that he actually appears in it. So I think it's sort of, I know people are going to question, well, why is there a 7th Doctor in there? You know, why couldn't we have like Leela or a Romana or Narbin or something like that? But ultimately, you know, the whole point of that, it's Doctor Who, and so they would need to have the Doctor in there. And at the end of the day, it's nice to have a new Dalek variant, and then we've got, you know, a new Doctor variant, specifically a TV movie Doctor, which I know people have been wanting to see for very long. So personally, it doesn't really bother me that, you know, it's a Doctor that isn't, it's a Doctor that's from it's a Doctor from a story that is not included in the story that the set is based on. But it's not, you know, I don't see that as an issue. I think it is still something which I think people are still going to want to get. I don't think people are going to turn around and go, oh, well, it's not the right Doctor for the story, therefore I'm not buying it. Because it's a TV movie Doctor, I think people are going to want to buy it. But let's have a look at this one and see what's inside the box. So here we have our Dalek and 7th Doctor, and the Dalek particularly looks very striking. And I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but I think it's the fact that the black on it is matte rather than metallic, and it really does sort of make it stand out. It is an absolutely fantastic looking Dalek, and it's one of these ones that, as some of you will know, I did an 18-inch version based on this Dalek, but you know, I look at it and think that these Dalek sets, I sort of think that perhaps, particularly the War Doctor one, people are going to buy them to make customs from. But I actually have to say, if you get this one, I would leave this one as it is. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. It really, really does look great. And the 7th Doctor looks fantastic as well. I love the detailing on the trousers. The cross-hatching's very nice. Obviously, the jacket is, overall, it's just a standard 7th Doctor figure. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing, if I bring in the 7th Doctor from the Silver Nemesis set, you can see that it is just a standard 7th Doctor, you know, in terms of its sculpt. But it's just the paint application on it looks brilliant. It's got some fantastic sort of detailing, even all the buttons and things like that he's got detailed. The only thing that is missing on this, and it's such a small thing, but you know, I want to be fair and I want to raise it because I know people are going to talk about it, is the fact that he has a jumper instead of a waistcoat. Now obviously it's because, you know, the waistcoat, you know, that's the sculpt, is the jumper. But if it was me, the one thing that I perhaps would have done is I would have just added a line and then some black dots to give the impression of buttons, to give the impression of a waistcoat. And it wouldn't have looked perfect because it still would have looked like a sculpt of a jumper, but it would have still given the impression of a waistcoat, and I think that's the only thing I would have done differently. But at the same time, the more I'm sitting here looking at this, I think in some respects, just having the jumper looks good. And I think to the majority of people, if you're kicking up a fuss about him having a jumper instead of a waistcoat, I think you're not concentrating on the fact that we've got something which is something that so many of us have wanted to see. And it's also, you know, he hasn't got longer hair, which obviously he has in the TV movie. But the other thing as well, it's worth pointing out that this isn't this is a 7th Doctor done in the style of the TV movie, but this isn't a TV movie set. So it could be debated that perhaps this is the 7th Doctor as he started to put together his TV movie outfit, shall we say. So maybe he did decide a red jumper before he decided on a waistcoat, and he hadn't grown his hair out yet. You know, there's plenty of sort of variants of what this could be. I think the TV movie 7th Doctor is something that is gonna really draw the fans in, even if it doesn't fit into the Gallifrey 6. Even if it doesn't fit into the Gallifrey 6 story. But the Dalek is just absolutely phenomenal. It's got a slightly darker, if I bring in, this is the Thing of Guile Scientist Dalek, if I bring that in, you can see that this Dalek does have a slightly darker bronze colour to it, and I think that really sort of makes it stand out as well. So I think this is probably going to be the set that is going to be quite highly sought after for the Dalek. I don't think it's going to be the highest selling set. I think that will go to the Dark Eyes 8th Doctor, but I think this is going to be a set that's going to sell very well because of the Dalek, and it's also because it's got a, you know, it has got a TV movie 7th Doctor. But I think the Dalek in this set is going to be something that people are really going to be drawn to, and is really going to be something which fans are really going to grab off the shelves. And lastly, here we have the one that so many have been waiting for. This is a Dark Eyes Eighth Doctor. I think this really does sort of, this is the, we never thought we'd get big Finish figures, and I think this is the one that so many people never thought we'd get, and so to see it finally here is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely brilliant. So we have here obviously the Eighth Doctor on the front. It's giving us that the story is just from the Time War, which makes sense because this box set does have a it's a very loose basis, shall we say, but we've got the Eighth Doctor, we've got the Dalek Interrogator Prime, obviously on the side, we've got pictures on the back. It tells us that this story is the Garden of Death. Doctor Who, the Time War, Garden of Death, gives us all of this information on the back here, and obviously pictures of that. And then on the side we have some of the artwork, not from the one that's on the back, but we do have some nice artwork from one of the from the Time War series. So yeah, so I think, like I said, initial impressions of this, people are going to look, well, first of all, they're going to go, well, that's an Eternity Circle Dalek from the War Doctor. And then we've got a Eighth Doctor from the Dark Eyes. So let's open this box up and get into talking about that. So here is the Dark Eyes Eighth Doctor and Interrogator Prime Dalek. So the Dalek itself looks very nice, very nicely put together. There's a little bit of a gap I noticed there, but I think that's just where the body's been put on slightly misaligned. But that happens sometimes. Even I do that when I've got customs in the works. But it looks fantastic. I think I've never been that sold on this particular colour scheme of Dalek. I've never liked it, and I don't know what it was, but now I see this custom version, this official version, sorry, it really has put my previous custom versions to shame, and I think it looks absolutely superb. And again, this is going to be one of those Daleks that I think is I'm definitely going to keep as it is. And I think this is another reason this set's actually going to sell very well, because obviously, you know, a lot of people think, you know, that this is the Dalek from the Eternity Circle, not the Dalek Interrogator Prime. Again, it has been sort of confirmed that they do share the same colour scheme, and there's been a little bit of artistic license taken. But again, I think this is going to be a set that is going to sell hugely well, because the Eternity Circle has 5 or 6 Daleks in it, all of the same colour scheme. And so people are going to be buying up this set just to get 5 or 6 of these Daleks to put all together. So it really does look fantastic. I really do like the detailing on it. It's a fantastic looking colour scheme, a fantastic looking Dalek. The Doctor obviously looks absolutely superb. Such a brilliant use of the Eighth Doctor body to make this figure. The head sculpt is actually a new head sculpt, because the Night of the Doctor heads were on a peg, and the versions that have a version of the Ninth Doctors have, even the regenerated 10th Doctors with the Ninth Doctor's body, they have a peg inside actually part of the head. So this is an adapted head sculpt. I think it looks brilliant. It really has captured Paul McGann. I know that, let's get on to the main elephant in the room. People are going to say, well, why doesn't he have a bag? Why doesn't he have a screwdriver? I think it was just a case of, in order to make these big Finish sets possible, you know, they really had to be careful with what they did with the budget, and ultimately they have had to had an adapted head sculpt for this. They have had to, you know, retool bodies and things like that. And again, I think if you're focusing too much on the small things that these sets are missing, you're missing the fact that these are big Finish sets, and this is a big Finish Dark Eyes 8th Doctor. This is something that none of us ever thought would happen, and yet here it is, right in front of us. And you know, it would be nice one day, perhaps in future, we will get a future big Finish set which he does have the bag, and I think that's great, because they've made the figure now, so they can remake this figure, and then they can use the Connor Temple Primeval bag, which many people are using. And at the time I did my custom ones, I thought, well, this is going to be something which a lot of people are going to want to get. And then when we got the official version coming out, I said, well, in that case, you should definitely go and get them. You know, it's something which I think people are going to definitely want to get very soon. But it is something that, again, we've seen that Character Options are reusing Primeval parts to make new figures. So I think it's perfectly possible that they could give us a version in future with the bag. But for now, it's the fact that we've got a Dark Eyes 8th Doctor. It's something that so many of us have wanted for many years, and so finally to have it is just absolutely brilliant. And I think this really is the set that's going to be sold out so quickly. This is going to really be a collector's piece, so I would thoroughly recommend getting this if you get the chance to get it, because it really is a set that you know, I can't believe this is going to stay on the shelves for very long. And so that brings to a close part 2 of my B&M 2019 Mega Review. In the next and final part of this series, we are going to be looking at the TARDIS sets. So, as always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. And be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation and you can get involved. There's exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.